Why is there only 11? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's it gone? I used it and put it back. Oh, my battery's running low. Quick! Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video, which is going to be about Sonia G brushes. I'm going to be sharing my top 12 brushes from Sonia G. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, so I vowed never to do another makeup brush video ever again because they just get atrocious views here on my channel. It's just clearly not a popular topic for my subscribers, but I've also get a lot of requests for videos specifically when it comes to Sonia G brushes. They're very expensive. People want to know, which to invest in, which ones will, do lots of jobs for them, be really versatile, be worth the investment. So I understand it. I totally get why some of you are super interested in makeup brushes and want my help in choosing the most exciting or the most useful ones and where to invest your money. But let me just tell you, I am going to be extremely cross with all of you if you've bullied me into making this video and then it gets 3,000 views. But at the same time, you guys, you're the boss, okay? You're the boss. You're in charge here. You tell me what you want. I tried my best to give it to you. You're the line managers and I want to keep you guys happy. You are why I am here after all. But expect this to come up in my yearly appraisal should this tank as usual. Now there are a couple of things that I need to address before we get started. First of all, this atrocious number 12. Why isn't it 10? That's what I hear you ask, and I asked myself the same thing. I intended to do my top 10. That's a lovely round juicy number. It just sounds better, it rolls off the tongue, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I felt like I just couldn't choose between a few of them, so it's 12 and we're just all gonna have to live with it. The second thing is a lot of these brushes are filthy. Okay, I can't lie to you. I can't do my makeup without some of these brushes, so it is what it is, okay? I do clean them, I promise, but not today. Some of them are filthy, some are okay. Okay, it's going to be a mixed bag, so brace yourselves. Now, I'm not going to be ranking these necessarily. That was just too much. It was already too much, okay, trying to choose my 12 favourite children. And, trying to rank a foundation brush against an eyeshadow brush, it was an impossibility. How are you supposed to do that? I couldn't. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. So these are in no particular order. They're just my 12 favourites and here we go. So first up, I'm going to talk about the newest brush to my collection, the Sheer Buffer. Let me tell you, this brush, Sonia G is always innovative. I feel like the thing about Sonia is that she is first and foremost a makeup lover like the rest of us. Before anything else, before being, this incredible brush expert, that came from her passion and love, like all of us, for makeup. And she just has this talent, this skill for recognizing gaps in her collection and in the offering and filling them like no one else, okay? She's so clever. She's an utter genius, but she also just loves makeup and she is all about making application and makeup more enjoyable and easier. These brushes, the special thing about Sonia G brushes is they do jobs. They help you do jobs. Like myself, if you're useless at dealing with cream products, there's a brush here that will help you apply cream products seamlessly and beautifully. They do the work for you. This brush, I think, is the cleverest, even for Sonia G. I have nothing like it. There is nothing like it. It's not even, even on paper, I was thinking, wow, that's really clever. That's exactly what I needed. A brush that can apply cream, bronzer, particularly, but other cream products as well, really lightly and in a diffused, soft way. That sounds perfect, and that on paper sounds really clever and ideal. And then I received it and actually started using it, and it's just so much more special and clever and unique than you really even can imagine. It's almost like two brushes in one, okay? Because it's got this really sort of spiky, sparse top to the brush. you think, oh, the whole thing is very light and airy and fluffy, and that's what you envision because, you know, it's designed to be a really sheer application with this brush. But just below these brushes, there's like another whole brush that is a real buffing brush. It's literally, depending on how much you press the brush onto your skin, you get two different brushes. So this is designed to pick up the product really lightly because it's got that really sort of sparsely packed top layer. It's going to pick up a small amount of product, but then as you sort of push past that, it's got a really solid buffer brush underneath. So it not only picks up a small amount of product and lightly applies it to your skin, but you then have this real workhorse behind that to buff it out and get that really seamless blend. It's genius. It's like no other brush I've ever tried. It was not even what I was expecting it to be. I thought it was going to be clever. It's so much more clever than I ever even could have imagined. It's incredible. My favorite ever by miles cream bronzer brush or cream blush brush, and actually I've used it for powder bronzer as well, and I love it for that also. It's so versatile. You could use it for skin tints, foundation. You could pretty much do your full face of makeup with this, okay? And it would be a treat. Okay, next up, two brushes that I guess on paper are foundation brushes at their core, and these are the Jumbo Base Brush and the Base Brush from the Lotus collection. So both of these I love equally. I use them in exactly the same way, although they have quite different shapes. I use these for exactly the same products and in exactly the same way. They are just different shapes, obviously different handles. So the Jumbo Base has, this is one that is super filthy, so I apologize. But you can see it has that like slanted, flat surface there, very densely packed. And this is like, alongside the base brush from the Lotus collection, my all-time favorite foundation brush. It's also perfect for cream contour or bronzer. Without fail, if I'm doing cream contour or I'm doing cream bronzer, I will use this brush for foundation and then go in with my cream bronzer, and it just blends so beautifully because you've got a bit of foundation still on the brush. It's the perfect size for getting right in the cheekbone. It just is so good at like blending everything out without too much product quickly and seamlessly without leaving brush strokes, and it's the perfect size. Like you can get around and it's not too large that you can't then use it for cream bronzer, but it's large enough that it does everything, you know, quickly. You can still get between brows and around the nose and chin and everything, but it's not taking you forever because it's too small. It's the perfect size. I love that flat surface, and it is absolutely perfect for cream products as well. A real workhorse. Now the Lotus base brush obviously has a completely different shape, very unique, almost like a fan brush, very, very narrow on its side and got that beautiful flat tapered shape to it, along with like the stunning handles from the Lotus collection, which really, you can't go wrong, can you? This I love just as much as the Jumbo Base for foundation. It's a completely different shape, but it does the same job just as well. I use this in more of a sort of swiping motion for my foundation. It obviously can buff as well, but I just like to really swipe. Is that the correct word? That's what I'm going with. But that's how I like to use it, again, because it's got that really narrow shape, very easy, even easier than the Jumbo Base to get around nose and in between brows and carve out brows, in fact, as well as, you know, you can carve out your eyeshadow and clean up with this because it's really quite precise as well. Perfect for cream contour. You know, you can brush this on a stick and it's literally going to give you the perfect carving out shape, but again, it's quite dense, so it really is not going to need much work to blend products even that are trickier to blend out. It's absolutely seamless. Perfect for cream blush as well. Again, another one that's very versatile and it does the job beautifully. These are my two absolute favorite foundation brushes. I pretty much go back and forth between these two and rarely use anything else. Another brush that I literally have, there is no competition to, there is no equal. This is the only brush I ever use to set my under eyes with. This is the Detail Pro. It's this super fluffy, very, very gentle and soft diddy little round brush. There is just such a difference when I use this, and the difference is that it's just the airiest, lightest application. You know, I'm 39, okay? 40 is hitting me in the face at any moment, and I have lines and texture under my eyes like most of us do, and therefore adding a lot of powder there or heavy product there is a terrible mistake. I want the tiniest little dusting of powder just to set my concealer and to stop creasing, and this is the perfect brush for that job. It just picks up the smallest amount of product but so evenly and distributes it very lightly, and it's very soft and gentle in that delicate under eye area. I will apply it and then dust it away with this, so it just leaves the finest, tiniest amount. And I feel like there's a big difference between when I use this and I use another brush. My under eye area just looks heavier, more aged. It just is the absolute gold standard under eye setting brush. I don't really use it for anything else. Sometimes I will use it to set my eye concealer on my eyelid with powder, but it's a bit too diddy for that, and I literally just use it for that under eye area, and I never use anything else. It's my number one. Now I have two kind of bronzing brushes that I kind of went back and forth as to which one to include, but I felt like I love them both so much I need to include them both. And they are the Face Pro and the Jumbo Bronzer. So the Face Pro, it has that lovely slant that allows you to sort of really get a nice contoured bronzer or contour application because it hugs your cheekbone so nicely, but also because of that sort of tapered shape, it's very easy to like get around the hairline as well. And if I want kind of a more natural, seamless, all over sort of bronzy look, this is like my go-to, and I really enjoy it. It's very light and fluffy, so it's very easy to get a nice natural bronzer. If you're using a bronzer that's a bit daunting, it's a bit too pigmented or a bit too deep, I will use this one because it's going to give me a softer, easier to blend application. It's just like the perfect amount of fluffy versus soft versus dense. It just gives you everything. Absolute perfect. Favorite powder bronzer brush. Beautiful. Now I say that the Face Pro is my favorite bronzer brush, but it is tied with the Jumbo. And it really just depends on what kind of bronzing effect I want to go for. If I'm going for sort of more of like a subtle, all over like bronzy, just kind of make everything, pull everything together, I'll go for the Face Pro. But if I want a sculpted, more impactful, strategic bronzer to, you know, really sculpt up the cheekbones, then I will go for the Jumbo bronzer because it's got that sort of really quite like narrow and sculpted shape to it. It's really perfect for, it's too big for like contour necessarily for most people, but you know, each to their own. But for me, it's too large for like a real strategic contour, but it's perfect for a more sculpted bronzer, if you see what I mean. It just gives me that shape around the hairline, and it's not too small that I'm having to bring the bronzer. It's just literally the perfect size to just diffuse the bronzer and keep it quite sculpted, keep it quite strategic in its placement, but it's fluffy and soft and big enough that it does that job very quickly and very easily without it becoming too heavy. It's just genius. It's another brush that really does the job for you. Both of these are like perfect powder bronzer brushes. They can be used with just all over powder as well, but you know that I don't really do that very often, so not for me. Next up, for the diddier little cheeky brushes, we have the Fan Pro. I very rarely use anything else for highlighter, for powder highlighter these days. This is pretty much it for me. Never was a fan brush girl before I met this fan brush. It's just the perfect size and shape and density and softness. It's absolutely perfect. I absolutely love this brush. I wouldn't be without it. The reason I love this one so much for highlighter is because it ticks all of the boxes. I'm kind of a glowy, lit from within, you know, luminous highlighter kind of girl. I don't want a metallic beaming, seen from space kind of highlight. So if I'm working with a highlighter that's super metallic and typically too much for me, it's going to enhance my texture too much and just be too highlighted for my preference. This is going to give me the most diffused application possible of that type of highlighter. It's just so light and fluffy, and even if you go too heavy initially, it does such a brilliant job of like buffing out until you get, from even the most metallic highlighters, you'll get a gorgeous blended glow because it just can apply so softly but also buff out so seamlessly. And with my more typical preference for a highlighter, something that's very subtle and just a really natural luminosity, this can build it up beautifully and just it distributes it such in the perfect place. Like, it's literally perfect for cheek highlighter. It's narrow enough to go down the bridge of your nose and above the brow, chin, cupid's bow. It's the perfect size, shape, and just it does such a wonderful job of either building up your intensity or diffusing it depending on the product that you're working with. My absolute favorite ever highlighter brush. I really don't use any others. And next, again, pretty much the only powder blush brush that I ever use unless she's been cleaned, which is rare because I can't be without her. It is the Detail brush from the Lotus collection. One of my all-time favorite brushes. When I was kind of picking my top brushes this morning, this was like one of the first to go in. Like, it absolutely, if we're doing top 5, it's going to be in there. If we're doing top 10, it's going to be in there. It was always going to be in my favorites because it is so special. It's another one. I have nothing like it. I have nothing that I like as much to apply blush with. It's just perfect. Again, for someone like myself who's really heavy-handed and tends to overdo products, blush is one of like the most dangerous products to overdo. It's hard once you've laid down a lot of product and you're looking very clown cheeks. It's kind of hard to diffuse that and to get out of that once it's happened. So what I love about this brush is it's never going to lay down too much product. It's always going to allow you to build, and it's always going to help you blend out. It's small enough. Again, I have quite a narrow face. I have a narrow area to work with, and because I like a lifted look with my blush, I've got literally this much space to work with. And if I come too far in, it's not very flattering. If I come too far down, it's going to drag my face down. I need to keep my blush quite strategically placed, and this is just small enough and fluffy enough that it doesn't add too much product. It diffuses it in a beautiful light way that blends seamlessly with everything, but it keeps it where I need it to be. It's not too large where it's hard to control your blush. It's very, very easy to really apply very naturally and seamlessly and blend it out and build as much as you want, because it can absolutely pick up more product if you want it to, but it's never going to like play you and make you look like a clown. I love it. The size, the shape, the feel, it's very, very soft. It's got this stunning handle. Again, my #1 all-time favorite blush brush. Bar none. There is no second place. Again, for powder only. The only brushes so far that can be used with creams are these 3. And the final face brush before we move on to eye brushes is the Smooth Buffer. Quite different to the Sheer Buffer. Very different beasts. The Smooth Buffer is one of these brushes where I didn't know I needed it until I tried it for the first time, and I don't think I've done my makeup without it since. I did not know that I needed to buff. I didn't know. This was brand new information. I've never done it. It's not something I felt like I needed to do, and then this brush arrived and it's life-changing. I always bring my cheek products like too close to my nose, and then it's kind of hard to know where to go when you're trying to blend, and this is literally the answer to any makeup mistake ever. You've applied too much of something, give it a buff. You've brought your product too far into the center of your face, give it a buff. You're looking a bit shiny, give it a buff. Your bronzer is looking a little patchy, give it a buff. You see where I'm going with this? It's literally the fixer of all mistakes. And how I use this kind of day to day is just to kind of push back any product that's come too close to the center of my face, to blend out where I want, my blush to finish in a really seamless, natural, beautiful way. This is how I use this. I kind of just as a finishing step. I never really put any product on this. I just used this completely clean of product and just buff around the edges of everything to give me a beautiful diffused soft blend. Not a brush that I thought I needed or a step I thought I needed in my makeup, but it makes a big difference. It's just the perfect size, shape and density for its job. And now for the eye brushes. I only have 3 in this top 12. I feel like Sonia's face brushes are just so unique and special, and they've helped me do my face makeup so much that there are just so many of them that I like need in my life. The eye brushes, as beautiful and as good as they are, I feel like I need less of them because they're very versatile. So I feel like between these 3 I pretty much have everything covered, which is amazing because you don't have to buy 20 different eyeshadow brushes when you could have like 3 that do it all. So first up we have the worker brush, and this just happens to be the one from the Lotus collection, so it's got the gorgeous pink purple handle. The name of this brush, it tells you everything you need to know, okay? It's a workhorse. You can do so much with this. I sometimes use this to smoke out my crease or to do my transition shades, but where I feel like I typically reach for this because it's got the perfect size and shape for it is like my outer third. Whenever I'm trying to sort of diffuse or deepen up or add dimension into that outer third and blend into the crease, this is my #1 go-to brush. It lays down the perfect amount of product. It's flat enough but fluffy enough. It doesn't add too much or too little, and it blends beautifully into the crease. You could use this as a lid shade. You could even use this under the lower lash line. It really is a full-on workhorse multitasking brush. So easy to use. It picks up the perfect amount of product, never lays down too much, will never leave you with like patchiness or product that you can't blend. It's a dream. Again from the Lotus collection, but the Builder brush. This is like a smaller, denser relative of the worker. Again, so versatile. For this one, I prefer to use it to lay down like my lid shade, the shimmer shadows. It's so dense, it picks up shimmers without leaving a lot of fallout so perfectly. It doesn't pick up too much. It doesn't pick up too much that it's going to cause flaking and make a big mess. It literally picks up the perfect smoothest amount of eyeshadow and distributes it absolutely perfect. It's so precise and sharp at the top that it really allows you to like carve out where you want that shimmer to end, and it can give you a very nice defined cut crease. Absolutely perfect, really nice and small so that you can get under your lower lash line as well, also in a corner. Perfect. You could use this for like highlighter as well in strategic places. An absolute perfect, again, very versatile eyeshadow brush. And then finally, we have the Builder brush from the Fusion series. So especially designed for cream and liquid shadows. That whole series, I wanted to put like more of the Fusion brushes in here, but I didn't want it to become a top 30. Okay, I had to be really picky, and this is my absolute favorite from that brush set. I think it's just one that is the perfect size and shape that you can pretty much do everything you need to do with cream shadows. I feel like for me, if I'm using a cream or a liquid eyeshadow, I want it to be like a one and done, and therefore I want like a one brush and done too. If I'm doing that, I'm doing a one and done. I'm probably in a hurry, and this is going to do it all. You can pick up your cream product on this perfectly. It's going to pick up the perfect amount. It's going to pick it up really nicely and easily, and it's going to lay it down beautifully all over the lid. It's also perfect for blending it. You know, I don't want my cream shadow to go up too high. If I'm doing a one and done, I want to be able to blend it and it be seamless but not going forever. This blends it perfectly, beautifully up into the crease, but it also can do your lower lash line because again, it's got that nice narrow size and also that nice precise edge that you can get right under that lower lash line. And I feel like you can do an entire eyeshadow look with just this one brush. When you're using liquids and cream, it doesn't put down too much, so you're going to end up with creasing. It really kind of buffs it out, and I like to use it to sort of pat everything down as well. If I'm applying with like a wand, say if I'm using something like the Lisa Eldridge liquid Lurex shadows that have a wand, I will use the wand to apply the shadow and then just pat it out with this, and it barely need to do anything. I will just pat the shadow down, slight bit of blending into the crease, and it's perfection. Very easy. Another brush that really helps you do a job that maybe you're not so good at. Much better. Okay, and there you have it. That is my top 12 picks from all of my Sonia G brushes. Please let me know your #1 Sonia G brush in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye.